Are you feeling stuck in your business journey? One of the biggest roadblocks to growth can often be a lack of inspiration or dip in motivation. But what if I told you that the epic journeys of light novel protagonists could reignite your passion and drive? If you're not familiar with light novels are usually fast-paced, epic tales centered around strong-willed protagonists who rise from humble beginnings using wit, strength, and perseverance to overcome incredible odds and shape their own destiny in fantasy worlds. Look, it might sound childish, but hear me out. Seeing these characters save the world time and time again fuels my drive and pushes me to aim higher. I kid you not, the reason I earn tens of thousands of dollars a month and constantly strive for the best in life is because I made a conscious choice to not settle for mediocrity. Just like the protagonists in light novels, these characters refuse to live ordinary lives, and their journeys inspire me to do the same. But look, I'm not perfect. It can be addicting at times reading light novels. And I won't lie to you, once I find a good light novel, I will spend the whole day glued on my screen trying to finish the light novel, as they can be thousands of chapters long. But hey, we all have our addictions. At least it's not alcohol or drugs. Look, reading light novels is not just about escapism. It's about embracing the mindset of those characters and channeling that energy into our own challenges. Every time I feel stuck, I ask myself, what would they do? What would the light novel protagonists do? In this video, I want to talk about how light novels can be the perfect distraction for you to inspire you in your business journey. Now, I will mention the only light novels worth actually reading are Chinese light novels, because in my experience, the protagonists in Chinese light novels tend to embody a more proactive, confident mindset compared to the more passive, beta male protagonists that you usually find in Japanese and Korean light novels. In my opinion, Japanese and Korean novels are crap. There's 4 key lessons I'm going to be sharing with you from reading tons of Chinese light novels that have shaped my life, my business in ways you cannot have imagined. Lesson number 1, let's talk about destiny. And like many light novels, the protagonist is always looked down upon, always having to prove himself. The main character knows that his destiny, his future lies within his hands. He could either choose to live a mediocre life, a person that's always looked down upon, or transcend the norm and become a literal god like xianxia from Against the Gods. In the first couple of chapters of Against the God, right, the main character xianxia is facing off against other people in an intense battle. Everybody's eyeing for an object that he holds. They're all greedily wanting that object because that object makes him OP, overpowered. But the main character is not willing to let go of that, and he's betrayed and people corner him. He knows that it's doomed, right? He cannot defeat all these other people, so he's ultimately killed. But he's not really killed. He's reincarnated into a new vessel, a new human, and that's what a reincarnation type of novel is. And when he awakes in this new body, the main character realizes, wait, I just reincarnated. He keeps with them all of his prior memories, right? He keeps with them the moment he was killed, right? Being surrounded, being betrayed by his loved ones. And he holds that with him in this new life that he has. And since he has the memories of his prior life, he's filled with a ton of remorse, a ton of regret, because he felt like he died too soon. But at the same time, he realizes he's been given a new shot at life. He values this opportunity, and he vows to make sure that what happened to him in his prior life, right, the betrayal, of being too weak to be able to fend for himself, never happens in this life. So in this life, from the beginning, he vows to become OP, basically. Vows to take destiny to his own hands. Like in many light novels, right? The main character has a ton of things not going for him. He's looked down upon. He's bullied. He's born weak. His destiny is to be mediocre. But he's not going to let that define him. He says, screw that, go to the hell with that destiny. I want to decide my own destiny. I will decide where I end up. Once you read the novel, I don't want to spoil too much, right? xianxia goes through a ton of suffering. It's not easy, but he is able to avenge a lot of the things that happened to him in the past, right, which caused his death, right? He was able to control his new life, control his destiny to become a literal god at the end of the novel. It was super entertaining and super inspiring. Just the journey, right? From starting with no power, because literally when you were born, right, in a Chinese light novel, you literally have 0 on all stats, 0 strength, 0 agility, 0 intelligence, right? But he has that drive of wanting to control his own destiny, no matter what it takes. And that is very inspiring and very applicable to us as human beings, right? It doesn't matter how you're born. You might be born into extreme poverty. You might not have nothing going for you, right? You might not have the ability to go to school, right? Maybe your destiny is to be broke, to live a mediocre life. But you can always change that. You can decide to be whatever you wish to become. You can achieve your wildest dreams just with the act of deciding where you wish to end up, of wanting to take control of your own destiny. And don't take my word for it. Just look at all the immigrants that came from nothing with a dream to the United States of America. I wanted to become something. And a lot of times these guys don't even speak English. And how is it that they're able to become way wealthier than the people born into this privilege of being called an American? It's because they decided to grab hold of their own destiny. They're not gonna let their own circumstances, their own conditions decide where they end up. They themselves decided what they want to do with their future. So can you. Lesson number 2, there's always a new mountain to climb. There's a famous Chinese proverb that goes something like, beyond every mountain, there's an even greater mountain. And it basically means that the moment you reach the peak of a mountain and you think that's all there is to the world, you're greatly mistaken. There's always a higher mountain out there, and an even higher mountain that you must scale, right? There's levels to this game. Xuanhuan against the gods really illustrates this Chinese proverb of there's always a higher mountain to hike. Because in the beginning of the Chinese light novel, xianxia, right, he's starting off like facing like puny level villains, right? They're literally ants. Okay, then he evolves as a person because he's trained. Then he has to face tougher and tougher enemies, and then after a couple hundred chapters, right, he has to save humanity from this like mega villain. And after he defeats this mega villain, okay, he becomes like this hero. But the thing is, in this planet, there is no more obstacles. He is like this overlord. And since this is overlord, there's no more ways to continue to evolve as an individual. If he continues to stay in this planet, he's gonna stagnate. And he knows that if he wants to continue to reach his full potential, his peak potential, he has to ascend to a higher realm, right, where the villains are stronger. Because Xuanhuan knows there's a higher mountain out there, right? And if he wants to continue evolving, right, reaching his peak potential, okay, he has to continue to hike and scale bigger and bigger mountains. He can't stay in one place. And this Chinese proverb of there being a bigger mountain always, and Xuanhuan's journey of continue evolving and ascending to higher and higher planes to where he finally ends up at the plane of gods, it's very like applicable in a way to like us as humans. For example, I'm currently making tens of thousands of dollars a month, right? But I know I'm just a cat, a little small cat in the grand scheme of things. There's people out there making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, millions of dollars a month, tens of millions of dollars a month, hundreds of millions of dollars, billionaires. Okay, so I'm just a little small cat in the grand scheme of things, right? I just hiked a little small mountain, right? But I know there's a higher mountain I must scale, 100,000 a month. And then there's even higher mountain, right? And if I want to continue evolving, if I want to reach my peak potential, right, realize what I'm truly capable of in this life, right, I gotta continue scaling and scaling mountains. I'm just in this small mountain right now. Yes, tens of thousands of dollars a month, right, might be a lot for a lot of people, right, but still a mountain. And there's always a higher mountain I must overcome. And this has made me realize that there's levels to this shit. I shouldn't be satisfied where I'm at. So if you're ever feeling like the top dog, yeah, I'm making 100K a month, just realize that in the grand scheme of things, you're still a little shrimp, right? There's people making millions of dollars a month, right? There's always a bigger mountain that you must scale. Lesson number 3, I want to talk about pain. There's a part of the novel where Xuanhuan again is cornered by a ton of powerful people, right, like in his past life. And again in this life, he doesn't have the strength to fend for himself. And the thing is, he's cornered, but this time he's not alone. He's with his master, and his master's a woman. And like many Chinese light novels, well, the master is his wife, right? It's his woman. They have a relationship together that's far beyond the master-disciple relationship. The thing is, he's injured. His master's injured. He's going crazy. He's like, I don't want the same thing to happen to me again, right? I'm tired of this. But again, right, he doesn't have the strength to defend himself. And since Xuanhuan can't fight back, they kill his master. They destroy his home planet. But luckily, he's able to escape, right? He had this like life artifact that was able to help him escape at that moment, and he's transported to like this planet. Xuanhuan, the moment he's transported, right, he's in extreme despair because his master, right, somebody he loved, his woman was killed, his home planet was killed, right? He had kids at this point, many wives. He's in extreme pain, crying his eyes out. Reading that really like hurt me. I felt his pain. And in his current state, since he didn't have the strength, right, to fight those evil people, he had to go into hiding for many years. in order to recuperate his strength, in order to evolve, to get stronger. He wanted to die at times, but he couldn't let himself die because he wanted to avenge his master. He wanted to avenge his home planet's people. That tragedy, that pain that he suffered that day only made him stronger. It gave him a reason to continue fighting. Xianxia used that pain and funneled it into getting himself stronger, day by day, night by night. And ultimately, after working hard, getting stronger every single day for many years, he was finally able to become the person capable to defeat those evil villains. He was able to avenge his wife, right, his home planet. Xianxia's pain is very applicable to us in the business world. Things might not always go smooth. Things might go south. You might be losing tons of money at times. Maybe you're working for months and you see no results. It's part of the journey and you gotta accept that. Without pain, without suffering, we wouldn't value the good times. You gotta welcome pain because that's what's needed to grow. Without knowing what pain feels like, you wouldn't know what happiness feels like. Right? You wouldn't value happiness. Because if you think about it from a fundamental point of view, it's pain that pushes us. It's painful to be fat. That's the reason you go to the gym. It's painful to be poor. That's the reason you try to build a business, try to get rich. It is through facing and overcoming pain that we develop the character, the skills, and the determination needed for success. Lesson number 4, taking care of loved ones. The main characters of Chinese light novels usually have a massive harem. If you don't know what a harem is, it basically means having a ton of wives and a ton of concubines. Xianxia had a harem of like 20-30 women, right? But he loved all of them dearly. He would do anything for his woman. He would get into these stupid fights with stupid men because these men would be looking at his woman in ways that he didn't like. So he would go and freaking beat him up. It was just very amusing to see, right, the commitment he had in taking care of the people he cherished and loved, which was his harem. A big motivating factor for Xianxia, right, in becoming the most powerful man in the universe was protecting his loved ones. If he didn't have loved ones to take care of, he would have no reason to continue pushing himself. He wanted to create a world where they didn't feel fear. He wanted to create a world where they lived without pain. He was willing to shoulder the pain of the world for his woman. Now, if you think about this for a second, ask yourself, what is the reason why you want to get rich? If you really think about it, well, at the end of the day, it's maybe because you want to take care of your loved ones. Maybe you want to retire your parents. You want to give maybe your wife a better life. A lot of times as a man, the reason why we work so hard is not for us. We as men don't care if we haven't eaten in days or if we don't even have a roof on our head. Right? Our most important thing is to make sure that our loved ones are taken care of. And that's a big reason why a lot of us want to become wealthy, right? You take care of the people we love. To make sure they never lack anything in this life. Although Xianxia had like 20 freaking women, right? His harem was massive. He still loved each and every single one of them. He would be willing to do anything. He would be willing to trample over the devils, the gods, to make sure that the people he loved were taken care of. And that was very inspiring to me, right? That's the level of commitment I need to have, right? He was willing to trample gods, become the most powerful human in existence, right? To make sure his women were protected, to never live in fear. It's not easy building a business. It's not easy working from sunrise to sunset 7 days a week, right? I hate it. I'd rather be doing other things, but I put myself in this pain because I want to make sure that one day I want to be able to give the people I love a better life. That's what I work for, and I'm sure a lot of you guys also as well. Lesson number 5, let's talk about absolute power. By the end of the novel, Xianxia became a literal god looking down upon humanity. Xianxia had absolute power. Whenever he passed by, everybody would have to bow their head. Right? Nobody could disrespect him. Nobody could replace him. He could destroy their planet with the snap of a finger. And this made me realize, after I finished the novel, how does one achieve absolute power in this life? Absolute power is possible with enough money. Because if you think about it, if you have enough money, you can fund politicians' campaigns. And if these politicians win, they owe you one. Right? And if you fund enough politicians' campaigns and enough win, well, now you have a lot of influence in Congress. Or you can take this to the next level, the White House, the world. Money moves the world. And although I'm not a power-hungry person, I know that if I want to have a positive impact, or any impact at all in this world, I need money, right? Because without money, I can't influence things. I can't change things. It's not something I can ignore. I hope these 5 lessons from my favorite Chinese light novel has inspired you to read more light novels like Against the Gods and inspire you in your entrepreneurial journey. And to address the elephant in the room, you might be asking yourself, what is that pillow doing back there? What does it say? I'm not sure if you're able to read this, but it says Xianxia furniture. You might be asking yourself, why the hell does a pillow say Xianxia furniture? In the early days of my business journey, I used to flip couches. That was the first business I had ever built out. And I named that business Xianxia Furniture in honor of my favorite Chinese light novel of all time, right? Against the Gods, in honor of the main character of it, Xianxia. That's how much of an impact Chinese light novels have had in my life and in my business. I named the business out of a protagonist of a Chinese light novel. That's how obsessed I am with Chinese light novels. Don't judge.